Hi, I'm Hayley Victoria and welcome back to my crime and policing channel. In today's session I've got a special guest, as you can see, and they're going to tell us all about what it's like to be an operational police officer. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Alistair. I'm a police officer and I work for one of the Northern Forces in the traffic department.
How long have you been a police constable for?
I've been a cop for 5 years now.
And how do you find it so far?
Great. I enjoy my job. It's had its ups and downs, but by and large it's great and I enjoy it very much. And I'm in the role I want to be in at the moment.
Nice. We've got a lot of people who watch this channel, who are watching probably right now, who have started their journey into the police or are just starting out, and they're a mixture of PCDA, Ipldp and DHEP courses. Because at the minute there are 3 running. Where I work, we're just running PCDA and DHEP, but the Ipldp has sprung up again, hasn't it, across the UK. Which one did you do?
So I did the Ipldp course, which was 16 weeks at a training school, being taught by your good self, and then 10 weeks with a tutor, and then the rest of it was a probationary period which lasted for the rest of 2 years before I was fully signed off.
What was it like? So obviously I won't take it personally if you thought it was terrible. What was the process like of being in police training? Was it easy? Was it a lot to take in? Was it difficult?
I found waiting to start took a long time. So from originally applying to be a cop to actually get into training school took a long time, took about 18 months with medicals and fitness tests and vetting. Then in training, it was good. There were long days, lots of legislation, condensed into the 16 weeks, but worthwhile because even though it seems like paper exercises at the time, you've got to know it. You've got to know your definitions, and although it might seem like a cliche, we are learning all the time. So it's always important to stay on top of the legislation. So that was useful, and you get the chance to do little role plays and things. But I think the majority of your learning happens very quickly when you start on with your tutor, and then you start going to jobs by yourself.
Sounds exciting. What was your first arrest like?
Quite straightforward. It was just a warrant. They'd handed themselves in at the front desk of the police station. So
handy.
Very helpful. They knew they were wanted. They knew where they were going. So very unglamorous. It was almost a carbon copy of my first arrest as a special constable as well. So nice and easy, but it's good for learning. You get your caution out, you get your procedure, you understand how to present people at custody. Mm-hmm. So it was excellent for learning and not too much pressure, and I wish they'd all been like that.
So you mentioned you were special before.
Yeah.
Did that help you, do you think, like hit the ground running?
I think it gave me an understanding of the working culture of the police, the professionalism that's expected. It was with a different force, but you understand that the people that are working as police officers are humans. There's fantastic team ethos, and everyone's there to genuinely help each other. And I think that was important to learn as an outsider prior to starting as a police officer. And my year as a special really confirmed to me that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a good way to get in, I suppose, as well. When you were a special, did you, because you said you were arrested as well, what other things can you do as a special, and what can you not do? Is there like a big difference? A
special constable has all the powers that a regular police officer has. They wear the same uniform. I'd suggest their roles are different in that their expectations are different. So a special constable gives up their time voluntarily, which is, it can prove very helpful. They can bolster numbers on shifts, or they can conduct their own operations And like I say, in my case, it was great for learning and understanding the organisational culture of the police.
Yeah.
But by virtue of being voluntary, then they can't be expected to perform some of the duties that regular police officers can.
Yeah.
Because they're not reimbursed for it. So on social hours, etc., and doing, I think you have to do a minimum of 16 hours a month.
Yeah.
But you can't be expected to do a set number of shifts or relied upon potentially. So there's a disparity across the force. In some of the larger forces, specials will drop in as and when. In some of the more rural forces, I think that they keep forces going because there's so few officers over such a large area that the volunteers that come in to assist can make a real difference.
Wow.
But I think certainly there are limitations to the role of being a special, but they do a cracking job.
Thank you. So in training, obviously you do things like personal safety, you learn how to search people. Was that a challenge when you first had to do, like, say, search someone of the opposite sex or anything like that?
It's always a challenge dealing with members of the public because, again, you have to deal with what's in front of you. Everyone's different, so you have to identify what needs each person's got when you're speaking to them and adapt your body language, adapt your style to who you're speaking to make it as stress-free an experience for both of you as you can. Obviously, knowledge is power, so understand the powers and policy that you're using to either if you're needing to use force on someone or if you were searching someone, understand why. And I find that explaining yourself would always be the absolute bare minimum, and understanding why you're doing it. It gets easier with time. You have your own little procedures, certainly searching someone post-arrest in custody, which we do every time. You have your own way of working and your own way of moving someone around or speaking to them to explain to them what's happening and what you're doing and why you're doing it. But you find your own style, I think, and you learn from working with different officers that are more experienced, and you generate your own style, I think.
Fab. One question I get asked a lot is about knowledge check questions. So what tips do you have for people who are about to take knowledge checks for Ipldp or other courses?
Knowledge checks, don't guess. Understand your powers and policy. The way police questions are written is that 2 of them will be quite similar and 2 will be completely wrong. So if you're really stuck on a question, make sure you read the question properly and don't just skim over it, because there may be something in the question that will be as little as the difference between the words suspect or believe.
Yeah.
Once you're satisfied that you've read the question and you understand the question, have a look at what the answers are, because there'll be multiple choice. Identify the 2 ones that are completely wrong, and then you've narrowed it down to 50%. And if you're still stuck, then your odds are, halved, aren't they? But I would understand your legislation, and especially your certain powers that require the knowledge of suspecting and believing as to why you're doing something.
Thank you, good tip. What else I get asked a lot? So people are very interested in traffic. I keep getting a lot of questions about that. I know that is your area of expertise. How hard is it to get into traffic?
Well, in my force, the Roads Policing Group are a specialist department. It is quite difficult to get in. I think first time I've been very lucky. All I can say is what they would be looking for is evidence of good police work, not necessarily just traffic work. You've got to be keen on the role and all aspects of it. It isn't just driving fast and chasing cars. Largely the role is mainly dealing with major accidents and road safety, and enforcing road safety, and dealing with things when they've gone badly wrong. So it is a difficult department to join, I would suggest, and experience is what will get you there, and dedication to that role, and every aspect of it, not just the more exciting stuff.
Thank you. I want to do a proper video with you at some point, if it's alright, all about traffic.
Absolutely.
Yes. Also then, before we go, because I know that we've got stuff to do, have you got any other tips for potential police officers or people who are just about to start the process and applying? Like, what kind of things can they do in their applications to make them stand out?
I think evidence of communication is possibly the most important thing, because more important than anything would be your ability to speak to people. So those that work in retail or hospitality make excellent police officers, because they understand how to manage complaints and to deal with a broad range of members of the public to meet their needs and understand how to treat different people as individuals. And I would also say that those applying maintain a good level of fitness.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah,
obviously you've got the Gymshark thing on, haven't you?
It is a demanding role mentally and physically. So I think keeping a good level of fitness is important, not just for the physical aspect of the role, but also for your mental health as well.
Brilliant, thank you. On the mental health thing then, you keep making me want to ask more questions. Do you have things in place at your force for your mental well-being?
Yeah, there's certain aspects where you can seek support for mental health, mental well-being. There'll be assessors in trauma incident management, traumatic incident management on at least every duty group or every district. If incidents that you've been to are particularly traumatic, then those referrals may be mandatory, and there's certainly counselling pathways available if required.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for talking today. If you've got any questions and you're watching this, I'm going to bring him back for some proper specific traffic stuff and anything else, because why not? You're very welcome. Yeah, but thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you soon. Stay safe, look after each other, and please don't commit any crime.